Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Yeah.
Today we are tackling the sometimes super confusing world of choosing a course.
Right.
Like, how do you even begin to pick from all the options out there?
hmm
Degrees, certificates, boot camps, online courses. Uh,
It's a lot.
it is.
Yeah.
So to help us break it all down, we've got a whole bunch of practical guides and some real-world examples to learn from.
Yeah, we've got some really good stuff to dive into today. And it's important, because this is a big decision. I mean, one of the sources we've got here, it actually said that something like 36% of college grads actually end up regretting their major. So,
Whoa, okay, that's a lot.
yeah, it is. So, we want to help people avoid that,
And
right?
36% is a pretty big reality check.
Right.
Like, what leads to that kind of regret?
I think a big part of it is that people don't always think about the job market. What's actually in demand. It's like they pick a course that sounds interesting, but then they graduate and realize there aren't any jobs in that field.
It's like setting sail without a map.
Exactly.
So then where do we even start?
Well, all the sources we looked at, they pretty much agree that the first step is figuring out your goals. Like, what are you hoping to get out of this course?
Yeah. Are you looking for like a quick skills boost?
Mm.
Or are we talking about a major career change? Or is this more for personal enrichment?
Right. And a good thing to think about, too, are personality tests.
Oh, yeah. Like the Holland Code or MBTI.
Exactly. Those can be really helpful in uncovering, hidden strengths or interests.
Yeah, you might discover a career path you hadn't even considered before.
It happens. And that kind of leads into another big thing that our sources emphasize, which is data. Using data to make informed decisions.
Oh, data-driven decisions. That sounds kind of intimidating.
I know, right? But it's actually super helpful. For example, we always hear about how STEM graduates have a higher employment rate.
Yeah, that's pretty common knowledge.
Right. But one of the sources, it actually broke it down further and highlighted specific skills within STEM that are super in demand right now, like cloud computing, cybersecurity, data analysis, stuff like that.
So it's not enough to just say, I want to go into tech.
Huh?
You got to get more specific. Look at the niches that are actually booming.
Exactly. And the data gets even more granular. The same source actually compared salaries of business grads. And get this, a finance degree from a top-ranked university can, significantly boost your earning potential compared to the same degree from a lesser-known school.
Okay, so it's not just about the program you choose, but also the institution itself.
Right. Reputation matters. But now I'm thinking, how does our listener even find this kind of data?
Yeah, where do you even begin to look for this information?
Well, thankfully, the sources actually provide some good resources for data-driven decision-making. They mention government websites like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, also professional organizations, even industry reports.
Okay, so we've got our goal sorted, and we're armed with data. What's next on our course selection adventure?
All right, well, now comes the part where we actually choose the course. But the key here is choosing the right course, not just any course.
So what are the things we should be paying attention to?
Well, the first thing, all our sources seem to agree on this, is accreditation.
Accreditation.
Yeah, it's like a stamp of approval, It means the program meets certain standards and it's recognized by employers.
It's got to be legit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you want to look for accreditation from reputable organizations, and those can vary by field and country.
Okay, so it's not just about a fancy website or some marketing spiel.
Yeah.
Got to make sure the course has the credentials. What else should we be on the lookout for?
Don't underestimate the power of the syllabus.
Yeah, the syllabus.
Yeah, it's basically your roadmap for the whole course.
Tells you exactly what you're getting into.
Yeah, does the curriculum match up with your goals? Do you like the teaching style? Does it have hands-on projects, or is it all just lectures? These things matter.
They totally matter.
Yeah, because, it's easy to get caught up in the big picture, but those little details can make or break your learning experience.
I've been there. One of the sources actually had this whole checklist for evaluating online courses.
Oh, yeah. What did they say?
It was interesting because they didn't just focus on the obvious stuff like, platform features, video quality. They emphasized things like community engagement, instructor responsiveness, peer feedback mechanisms.
Right. It's more than just the tech, right? It's about the whole learning environment.
Yeah, it's almost like choosing a school for your kids. You're not just looking at the building itself. You're looking at the culture, the support system, the whole vibe.
That's such a good analogy. And speaking of real-world experience, our sources actually had some really cool case studies, to illustrate all of this.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about Moksha, Darshan, and Abhishek,
Yeah.
right? All from the same region in India, but with completely different goals.
Exactly. So Moksha, she's a recent biotech grad, and she realized she wanted to specialize in bioinformatics. which is a pretty niche field.
I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah, so she was having a hard time finding the right master's program, especially in Canada, where she wanted to study. But then she found this service that specializes in matching students with programs abroad. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So sometimes even when you have a clear goal, you still might need some help navigating all the complexities of international education or specific program requirements.
It makes sense. And then we've got Darshan. Didn't he want to transition into the AI world?
He did. He was a software engineer, but he felt kind of stuck and he wanted to upskill in AI.
And what did he end up choosing? A boot camp.
Yeah. He wanted something really intensive and hands-on.
And a lot of boot camps also have those connections with employers, which is a huge plus.
For sure. They get you job ready.
Oh,
Okay, and then there's Abhishek. His story is totally different.
right. His was about online learning, right?
Exactly. He's working in marketing and realized he needed to learn data analysis to stay relevant in his industry. But he couldn't just quit his job to go back to school full-time.
Yeah, that's not always feasible. So what did he do?
He discovered online learning. He found these courses on Coursera, actually. One of the sources actually compared Coursera to Eddy's, which was really helpful. They each have their own strengths.
That's true.
Okay, so we've got Moksha going international, Darshan diving into a boot camp, and Abhishek embracing the online world. 3 very different paths.
And they all found success, which just goes to show there's no one-size-fits-all approach to this.
Absolutely. The right course depends on you, your goals, and how you learn best. And it sounds like we need to be pretty proactive in figuring all this out.
Right. Research is key. And don't be afraid to ask for guidance if you need it.
Speaking of guidance, there's one thing that really jumped out at me from our sources. They all emphasized aligning your course choices with, the future job market.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. What's in demand today might be totally obsolete tomorrow.
It's like trying to hit a moving target.
Exactly. You got to stay ahead of the curve. And actually, one source even quoted the World Economic Forum. They said that 50%, a full 50% of all employees will need reskilling by 2025.
Whoa, 50%. That's a pretty big wake-up call.
It is. It means we can't just sit back and relax. We got to constantly be learning and adapting.
Okay, so how do we even begin to anticipate the skills of the future? What will the job market look like in a few years?
Well, luckily, our sources had some really interesting insights on that. One of them actually dove into specific industries that are, exploding right now.
Oh, okay. I'm curious, what industries are we talking about?
So data science is an obvious one.
Yeah, data's everywhere these days.
It really is. And it's not just a niche field anymore. It's impacting pretty much every industry you can think of.
So, what does that mean for someone who's, thinking about taking a data science course?
Well, the source actually got pretty specific. They talked about the importance of understanding different types of data analysis, like predictive modeling, machine learning, data visualization.
Okay, so it's not just about crunching numbers.
No, you need to understand the why behind the data and be able to communicate those insights effectively.
Gotcha.
And then there's artificial intelligence. That's another one that's kind of blowing up.
AI. It feels like it's everywhere.
It is. From self-driving cars to chatbots, even personalized medicine. It's amazing, but also a little bit scary, to be honest.
I know what you mean, but does that mean that, AI is only for, super technical people?
Not necessarily. One source actually broke down the essential skills for a career in AI.
Okay, I'm listening.
So programming languages like Python are important. Also, knowledge of algorithms, a good understanding of machine learning concepts.
So it's definitely technical, but it's not totally out of reach.
Right.
And the potential impact of AI is pretty incredible.
It really is. Just think about it. AI is being used to develop new cancer treatments, to optimize energy grids, even to personalize education.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. Okay, let's move on to something a little less futuristic. Cybersecurity.
Yeah. You can't go a day without hearing about another data breach or cyber attack.
I know. It's definitely a top concern for businesses and governments. And as the threats change, cybersecurity professionals got to keep up.
So what are the essential skills for someone who's looking to get into that field?
Well, one source really emphasized ethical hacking.
Oh, that sounds kind of intense.
Yeah. It's basically learning to think like a hacker so you can find and fix weaknesses in systems. They also talked about understanding network security, encryption, incident response.
So it's not just about building firewalls, it's about being prepared for when things go wrong.
Right. It's high stakes, but also incredibly rewarding because you're protecting people and businesses, even entire nations, from those digital threats.
Okay, so we've covered data science, AI, cybersecurity.
Yeah.
What's next on our list of booming industries?
All right, let's switch gears to something a little more, I don't know, feel good. Renewable energy.
Yes, this is a field where you can really feel like you're making a difference.
Right. And as climate change becomes more and more urgent, sustainable energy solutions are just going to become more and more important.
So what are some of the hottest areas within renewable energy right now? What should people be looking for in a course?
Well, one source mentioned the need for engineers who specialize in grid modernization.
Grid modernization.
Yeah, it's all about integrating renewable energy sources into our existing infrastructure. They also talked about the growing importance of battery technology and this emerging field of energy data analytics.
Okay, so it's not just about the hardware, it's about the systems, the data, how it all connects,
Exactly. It's becoming a very complex and multidisciplinary field.
which makes it even more exciting. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about healthcare.
Healthcare. It's a field that's always going to be in demand, but it's also changing so rapidly right now.
Yeah, technology is completely transforming the healthcare landscape.
It is. Telemedicine, personalized medicine, AI, it's changing everything.
So what are some key areas within healthcare that are seeing the most growth?
Well, one source pointed to the demand for bioinformatics
So
specialists.
those are the folks who analyze all that biological data, right?
Exactly. They use that data to develop new treatments and therapies.
And that's a huge field right now.
It is. They also highlighted the importance of healthcare data analytics and telehealth platforms.
So it's not just about doctors and nurses anymore.
Nope. It's data scientists, software developers, even UX designers.
It's everyone.
Right. And it's fascinating because all these fields we've been talking about, they're not really separate, you know?
They're all kind of interconnected.
Exactly. Like AI is being used in healthcare, data science is optimizing energy grids, it's all connected.
So even if you're passionate about, say, renewable energy, it might be a good idea to learn some data analysis or basic coding.
That's a great point. The more skills you have, the more adaptable you'll be in the job market. Which brings us back to lifelong learning.
It's not just about choosing the right course for today, but about having that mindset of continuous learning and adaptation.
Yes. The world is changing so fast, the only way to keep up is to keep learning.
So we've covered a lot of ground here,
Mm.
from understanding your goals and researching courses to aligning with industry trends. But I feel like there's even more to consider. What other practical considerations should people keep in mind?
Well, one thing we haven't talked about as much is the instructor
Oh,
themselves.
the instructor. Yeah, they can make a huge difference.
Right. It's easy to just focus on the course content, but the instructor is like your guide through that material.
It's kind of like choosing a mentor. Yeah.
Totally. You want someone who knows their stuff, obviously, but also someone who can explain it in a way that makes sense.
Someone who's passionate about teaching.
Yeah. And actually, one source suggested going beyond just reading their CV or bio. They recommend checking out their online presence.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. See if they have a blog or if they're active on social media, if they've given any talks. It can give you a better feel for their teaching style, whether it's a good fit for you.
I like that. It's like doing a background check on your potential learning guru.
Exactly.
But even beyond the instructor themselves, what about the overall support system for the course?
Oh, that's super important too. Some courses are very do it yourself, you get the materials and you're on your own,
Yeah.
but others offer a lot more support.
Yeah, one source talked about how important community engagement is, especially for online courses.
Oh yeah, the community aspect can be huge.
They found that students who participated in forums, study groups, peer feedback sessions, they were much more likely to actually finish the course and reach their goals.
It makes sense, right? Learning doesn't have to be a solo mission. Having a community can make it so much more enjoyable, and you can learn from each other.
It's like having a built-in support system, especially when things get tough.
Totally. And don't forget about practical help too. Having access to mentors, tutors, or even just a responsive instructor can be a game changer when you're struggling.
Definitely. Okay, so we've talked about instructors, support systems. What other practical things should people think about when choosing a course?
Well, think about the format of the course, the duration. Do you prefer a fast-paced, immersive experience or something more self-paced that you can fit into your schedule?
That's a good point.
And it's not just about the time commitment, but also about how you learn best. Are you a visual learner? Auditory, do you need hands-on experience?
Right. Everyone learns differently.
Exactly. So does the course offer different ways to learn? Are there videos, interactive exercises, real-world projects? Those details matter.
Yeah, a course that doesn't match your learning style can be really frustrating.
Totally. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
It's just not going to work.
Exactly. Okay, so we've talked a lot about, practicalities, but let's not forget about the big picture here. What are you actually hoping to gain from this course?
Yeah. A certificate is nice, but it's not always enough. Will this course help you get a specific certification? Will it give you the experience you need to get a job? Will it help you achieve your ultimate career goals?
Those are the questions you got to ask. And this brings us back to our very first step, understanding your goals.
Everything comes back to that.
It does. We started by figuring out where we want to go, and now we're thinking about each step along the way to make sure it takes us there.
It's like we've come full circle.
We have. And, something I've realized throughout all this is that choosing a course isn't just about getting a piece of paper or checking a box. It's about investing in yourself.
I like that.
Expanding your horizons, becoming a more well-rounded person.
It's about embracing that journey of lifelong learning.
Exactly. And it might feel overwhelming at times, but it's also super empowering. You have the power to choose your own path, to shape your future.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
It is. The possibilities are endless.
Well, on that note, we'll leave you with one final thought to ponder. Even with all the data, all the research, all the practical stuff, don't forget to listen to your heart. What subjects truly excite you? What are you curious about? How can you bring those passions into your learning journey? Even if it's just for personal enrichment, think about it. And until next time, happy learning. So we talked about the instructor, the support system, the format. Is there anything else we should be thinking about from a practical standpoint?
Let me see. Oh, this one's important: costs. Oh, yeah, of course, the money part.
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of learning something new and totally forget about the budget.
Been there. Courses can range from free to tens of thousands of dollars.
It's crazy, right? So definitely factor that into your decision. And it's not just about the upfront cost either. Think about textbooks, software, travel expenses if you have to go somewhere.
All those hidden costs can really add up.
Yeah, they can sneak up on you. And this is where, scholarships, grants, payment plans can be really helpful.
Oh, yeah, definitely look into those. Some employers even offer tuition reimbursement programs.
Oh, that's true. So definitely check with your HR department if you're working.
Good point. Okay, so we've covered costs. What else?
Let's see. Ooh, time commitment. This is a big one.
Right. We touched on this a bit when we talked about course format, but it's worth digging into a little deeper.
For sure. How much time could you realistically dedicate to this course? Be honest with yourself. Yeah, don't overcommit. It's better to choose a course that fits into your life than to start something you can't finish.
Exactly. And think about your other commitments too. Work, family, social life. Will this course add too much stress to your plate?
Right. You got to find that balance.
You do. And this might sound kind of obvious, but also think about the location.
A location?
Yeah, is it an online course that you can do from anywhere? Or do you have to physically go somewhere?
Oh, right. That makes a difference.
It does, especially if you have to factor in things like commuting time or even relocating.
And even with online courses, think about your learning environment. Do you have a quiet space where you can focus?
Good point.
All right, so we've covered pretty much all the practical considerations. What have we missed?
Let me think. Oh, one last thing. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback or advice from people who have already taken the course.
Oh, yeah, that's a great tip. Read reviews online, reach out to alumni, get their perspective.
Exactly. They can give you insights that you won't find anywhere else.
And they can tell you about the things that, the course description might not mention.
For sure. All right, I think we've covered pretty much everything.
I think so, too. We've really gone deep on this topic.
We have. From understanding your goals to researching courses to thinking about industry trends and all the practical stuff in between.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. But hopefully our listeners feel more equipped to make informed decisions about their future learning.
Absolutely. Choosing the right course is an investment in yourself, and it can open up so many amazing opportunities.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up here. Thank you so much for joining us on the Deep Dive. And remember, the most important thing is to find a course that you're excited about, something that sparks your curiosity and helps you grow. Happy learning, everyone.